was hoping to get into this cemetery today. It is they also made it like a public park. Um, it's supposed to be opened. It's a community garden kind of thing, but they never have it open. It makes no sense to me whatsoever why it's not open. A few hours a day. So it's the middle of the day, 2:30, right before the kids get out of school. Um, but as you see, there is a few graves visible. I don't know if you can see, there's one there. There's a few graves visible. Um, it would be nice to sit in there and talk to them. It is a nice little spot. Now, I've been on that side of the park. I sat there with my aunt. I didn't know there was a graveyard here, but they were having a party. Like the kids were playing near here, which is why we didn't go to the back. Didn't know they were playing in the cemetery, kind of, sort of, right near the cemetery. So, I thought they had actually moved the bodies, but they did not. They just incorporated this family cemetery into the community garden. As you saw, it's from 1773, so you can't see any words on there, really. I don't know if you guys can. I cannot. But, yeah, there looks like there's a good amount of them. There's some in the back there. There's one here. There might be a few in the middle there, but they broke. Like that circle. Not quite sure, but I'd really like to get in here one day. Would be super interesting. But of course, I am standing outside the gate. It's a little noisy, but not super noisy. It's just mostly cars. It's not too many people walking around, but super interesting how they just incorporated it into the community garden. And you would think they would have closed it off, so the cemetery part to come into a separate gate, but they just kind of left it all opened. Like I said, last year in the summer, you were able to come in from the other side, and that's where we were sitting. They had a nice water fountain. They had a whole bunch of stuff growing, and I'll stick that video in here too, probably. Alright guys, this is a little garden that they made here in Queens. They did a really good job with it. They have like solar panels and everything. I love this fountain. You know, they have little things. And they have a little playground for the kids back there. But this used to be an old cemetery, like the oldest cemetery in Queens. So one day, if it's open, maybe we could do a little spirit box. But I don't know, because there's a lot of kids. It's so pretty. They have all sorts of stuff. Look at the trellis. Look at this. This is what used to be there. And they have the little library. So it's super cute, guys. And show you what that looks like. But yeah, if there's any spirits still hanging out here since 1733, you're more than welcome to talk to us. This is my camera. It's like a recording device, so I could look at this later. This here is where the microphone is, where you can speak into. I could probably hear you. And then, of course, if you walk inside the gate, right around this tree here, you see. We could probably see you on the camera. Super peaceful place. I wonder if we could get the who's buried here. That might be something. Those voices are actually people in those apartment buildings there. I know I heard them. I don't know if you heard them on the camera, but just so you know, that was nothing supernatural. Yeah, so maybe we could get a listing of who's buried here. Now this one here says AM. Can't really see what the flowers. See if we could go this way. Maybe it's 1779. November, maybe? AM? Yeah, but that's so, it might be kind of hard to figure out who's buried here. We'll have to see. Because there's a whole bunch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 back there. Behind that patch of flowers there. I think there's about 6. So it's a good amount. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And definitely maybe some in that circle. There was 16, maybe 17, 18. I'd say about 20, at least 20. Maybe more if the headstones weren't, kept up. And they're not there anymore. But at least 20 that are visible in some sort of way. So super interesting. Well, if you spoke with us, thank you so much. Birds are all out today. It's 70 degrees today, and I dressed way too... I dressed a little overdressed for this weather because, yesterday was chilly and rainy, so, yeah. The Jackson Moore, so we will check it out and see if we cannot find out who's buried here. And I'm pretty sure it's a family cemetery because I think the Jackson Moore house was on this property, but it was taken down. So we'll find out the history. I will tell you a little bit about the history here. The Moores bought the land in 1684 and owned it for over a century. Many of the cemetery's interments are family members of John, Nathaniel, and Mary Moore, 3 of the Moores' 10 children. The tombstone of Augustine Moore, 1769, is the oldest that still remains and inscription, as many of 18th century tombstones have degraded to the point where you can't read them. Though the family estate was sold several times after 1827, The internments continued until 1869. John C. Jackson, a member of the Moore family, bought additional land near the cemetery in 1867. The Jackson Moore family continued to care for the site until about 1910, after which the cemetery fell into severe disrepair. A survey in 1919 found 42 gravestones. After the cemetery underwent a period of disrepair, Work Progress Administrator workers relocated the remaining tombstones in 1935 and then razed the land. The New York City government seized the cemetery in 1954 and a fence was erected around it 2 years later. The cemetery continued to deteriorate, and in the late 20th century, through local residents, they started maintaining it in 1974. The New York City Landmark Preservation Commission designated the graveyard as a landmark in 1997, following an unsuccessful attempt in the 1970s. The Queens Historical Society bought the Moore-Jackson Cemetery from the Moore's last remaining descendant in 1999 and subsequently restored it. Now it's a community garden, which was established in the cemetery in 2018. The first recorded burial on the Moore's family land was a tombstone dated May 29th, 1733, but the initials and the date of death did not correspond to any known immediate family member. Other stones that they could make out was Augustine Moore, 1769, the 17-year-old son of John Moore and his wife Patience. Charity, 1753, Samuel, 1768, John Moore, 1806, and Patience, his wife, 1781, are both buried there, plus their other two sons, David, 1823, and Samuel, 1813. Also, Nathaniel Moore and his wife, Rebecca Blackwell Moore, 1790, and their daughter, Mary Barrion, 1788, was also thought to be buried in that cemetery. The younger Nathaniel continued to live on the estate until his own death in 1827. In his will, he stipulated that even if the estate was sold, that the family cemetery would remain in the family's ownership. Upon their deaths, Nathaniel Jr. and his wife Martha Moore were also buried in the cemetery. However, descendants later relocated their corpses to St. James Church graveyard. Martha's sister Debbie Riley and Deborah's husband, Bernard, and their children were all buried in the cemetery as well. I don't know, it doesn't say if they were relocated or not. The reason why they call it the Jackson Moore Cemetery is because John Jackson married Nathaniel Moore's granddaughter. So, all in all, we don't know exactly how many people were buried there. The last person on record to be buried there was in 1868, and his name was Dastan, which Nathaniel Moore Jr.'s daughter had married, and she was also buried there. So, all in all, at its peak, supposedly, there was 46 tombstones with inscriptions. However, a historian states that the site had 48 tombstones and as many as 51 when it first closed. So, I don't know. Interesting. We're not sure how many bodies are there, how many has been moved, because we know some family members moved some. So it's a super interesting place. I did find out it is open on Saturdays, so we might get our butt there this Saturday early and see if we cannot talk to the members of the Moore Jackson family. Thank you guys so much for joining me. There's another little clip of a little tiny park across the way, which I thought was cute, coming up now. And we'll see you soon. I figured I'd stick this in too. So it tells you like what was here before, which is pretty cool. I love those things. And then, try to zoom out for you. Look at the gorgeous eagle statue. And it's just literally a little square. There's people sitting on those sides. That's all it is. But they just like made it like a little square for people to sit, rest, hang out. They have like 2 tables. There's some gentlemen playing checkers and chess. Pretty cool.